So before I moved to Austin more than 10 years ago, I had been out here with my husband many times for fun tourist stuff, for the party stuff. So going to amazing restaurants, checking out the music shows, going to all the fun bars and breweries, things like that. And we knew that we loved it here and we wanted to move here. But I asked my friend who had been here forever, like, are there adults in Austin, or is it just like party time all the time? Because every time we came down, it was just like downtown, all the fun stuff, all the things. But she assured me, yes, adults live here, kids live here. In fact, if you go a little bit outside of downtown, there's so much cool stuff for families and kids to do in Austin. So in this video, we are talking about the top 5 reasons to raise a family in Austin. And stick around because I may have a bonus number 6 reason. So the first reason to raise a family in Austin, and this is a question that I get from almost everyone coming out here, is how are the schools? Texas in general and Austin specifically has a really great school system. So one of my friends has a child who is very autistic, and they had him in private school, places that specialize in children who are on the spectrum of all different abilities and things like that. And he was doing okay for a while, but then they noticed that he wasn't really thriving or learning more. He was incredible at math, just like a genius at math. And they didn't really have him doing anything that was challenging him. So they started looking into what are the resources that are available in the public schools. And it turns out that the Austin public school system has amazing resources for all kinds of special ed situations. So they found that for his particular situation, there were very special programs. They had like free transportation to and from the school, things like that, that really exceeded what was available in the private sector at that time. So this was a few years ago. I'm sure things have changed by then, but especially as we talk about what's been going on with COVID recently. But the bottom line is, like, there are so many resources for kids in Austin of all different abilities, but there are especially pretty significant resources for special ed needs in Austin. So I have another friend whose child was trying to go to school with dyslexia, with ADHD, things like that, and just really having a hard time testing and grasping things and having enough time to read and stuff like that. And they found a lot of resources, both within the school and outside of the school, to really help make sure that they were on the right track in getting the help that they need and the accommodations that they needed to make sure that they are able to get the best education just like any other kid. So anyway, bottom line is lots of awesome resources in Austin specifically for families, especially with special needs. Real quick, before we get too far into the video, I realized I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Tiffany Moore. I'm a realtor right here in Austin, Texas. If you have any questions about moving here, buying a home here, I'm happy to help. All my info is in the description, so you can find it there. All right, back to the video. Education is really important to Austin. The city is named one of the top 10 most educated cities in the US. Austin has over 125 public school districts, 27 charter schools, and over 100 private schools. The Austin School District's average test ranking is 8 out of 10, which is in the top 30% of Texas schools. The graduation rate is 92.3%, and the average SAT score is 1043, which exceeds both state and national averages. 5 Austin area high schools were ranked best in Texas in 2021. The Austin ISD ranks in the top 20% for Texas school districts for diversity, which is really interesting. If you've seen any of my other videos, I talk about the diversity in Austin, that it's not as diverse as obviously Houston, Dallas, those places, but it is growing. While Austin isn't very diverse, it's very inclusive. So it's really cool to see that actually within the city, in the Austin ISD, it is in the top 20% of diversity as far as public schools in Texas. So after high school, once your kids graduate, they don't have to leave. They can stay here. At some parents' dream, that's some parents' nightmare, so whatever you decide. But Austin has over 22 and 4-year universities within a 20-mile radius. UT Austin is ranked the #1 university in Texas and number 10 for public universities in the US. It's considered part of the public Ivy League of universities. And UT Austin is a huge part of Austin culture. I grew up in Florida and I'm a Florida Gator, and everywhere in Florida it was either like, do you go to Florida or Florida State? And there's just like this huge rivalry everywhere in the state. That's exactly how UT is with A&M, but within Austin, like UT is everywhere. Burnt orange, Longhorns, all that stuff. When I first moved to El Paso, I don't know, 15 years or so ago, I was like, I am a Texan, I'm gonna buy boots, I'm so excited. So we went to the Lucchese outlet. Lucchese is like this very old classic Texas boot maker, and I found some boots that I really loved. I was like, yes, these are perfect. They're not just like classic brown, they have some cool stitching around them. These are very unique. And I wore them a few times, and it took a while for my feet to break them in, and then we moved to Austin, and I realized like, wait a minute, I bought Longhorn boots. They were like 100% burnt orange. They have a white Longhorn on the front. And I am from Florida. I had no idea who the Longhorns were, that they were such a big deal. And as soon as I started wearing them around Austin, I got some really awesome looks and compliments. And now those are my favorite boots. When I first bought them in El Paso, I was just like, oh, cool, these boots are neat. They have a little cow on them, awesome. But yeah, so now I totally fit in. So everyone thinks that I am like a diehard UT Longhorn fan. I'm just gonna let them think that. So the second reason to raise a family in Austin is a safe place to live. It was named in the top 10 of the safest large cities in the US in 2020. And I have to say, I've been in Austin in the suburbs at all times of the day and night and have never felt unsafe. So everything from, being downtown after a show, after going out with friends, walking around at 2 o'clock in the morning, fine. On the flip side, being downtown at 6 a.m., I'm a runner, and so I get up super early on the weekends to go run before I start my day. I love running on the trails downtown. Not just the trails, but I love taking the little offshoots of roads that'll take me up to like UT campus, downtown on South Lamar. I like to run past all the restaurants that I like to go to. So I am up running 6 a.m. and I'm out walking around downtown at 2 a.m. And all the times in between, I've never felt unsafe in this town. And it's not just me. Like, I see families on the trails, walking around the neighborhoods, moms with their kids or with strollers, with doggies, all that good stuff. And I never get the sense that people are like looking around their shoulder or like clutching their purse or making sure everything is safe. Like, Austin is a safe city. Now, it is a big city and there is crime here. I don't want anyone to think that it's like this utopia where nothing bad happens. Sure, bad stuff happens, just like it does in any big city. And you have to be vigilant and be smart about things just like you would anywhere. But it's the sense that I get when I am in the city and in the suburbs. I've never felt unsafe here. Third reason that Austin is a great place to raise a family, lots of jobs. So families are expensive. I have talked to so many people who've talked to me about the cost of daycare, the cost of food, the cost of clothing, of shoes, of toys, of education, school supplies, all that good stuff. Like, I know how expensive it is, and I can't even imagine moving to this town and not being comfortable with providing for your family. One, it's a little bit rough buying a house in Austin right now, so we can talk about that on another video. This one is about kids, but I know that it costs a lot of money to raise kids too. And even if you are trying to do everything on the cheap and you're doing all the fun free stuff in Austin and you're sending them to public schools and you're doing like fun stuff at the library and everything that costs like zero money, it's still expensive. There are a ton of jobs here. Kids are expensive. Jobs are important. From February of 2020 to November of 2021, Austin jobs grew by 4%. That puts Austin number 2 on the best performing markets in the top 50 metro cities in the US. Number 2. If you haven't heard, Elon Musk calls Austin the number 1 boomtown in the US, which is why he built the Gigafactory here. Okay, let me tell you a story about the Gigafactory. I have a client who moved down here with Tesla, lived in Michigan, moved down here to work at the new factory, and I was trying to film just a bunch of different areas around the city for him. So I have to pass the Gigafactory on my way to the airport. So my husband and I are driving to the airport one day. It's also it's off of this highway that is a toll road and has a very high speed limit. So don't freak out when I tell you how fast I was going. So we're driving down the highway and I'm going about 80 miles an hour and I'm filming the building from tip to tip. So I wanted to show them like, hey, just so you know, this is what's going on with the factory. They're getting close to it. It's almost finished. Here's what's happening. So I'm filming it, and it takes me literally about 30 seconds to a minute. I don't remember how long it was. However, the math works out. I think it was about 30 seconds that I'm driving down the road. It took me 30 seconds to pass this building at me going 80 miles an hour, which literally translates to the building is a mile long. It is a huge, huge factory. It's a mile long. And now they're talking about building another huge factory close in the area. Apple is setting up a new campus. Literally, Apple's new campus is like right across the street from my house. So I say these things to tell you like there's so much growth going on here. And if you have seen my other videos about like Leander, Georgetown, Cedar Park, all that good stuff, you know that there's a lot of growth, and it's not just in Austin. It's not just downtown. Like the growth is spreading further and further away. So you don't have to live in the middle of the city center to be part of it. But yeah, Apple is building a whole new campus here. Oracle just moved their headquarters here. Dell is from here, has been here forever. Another cool business that you probably didn't know was from here was Schlotzsky's. I love Schlotzsky's. I ate them all the time in college. Schlotzsky's headquarters is in Austin, and their first store was on South Congress. I was so excited to hear that because I love their sandwiches. The original, #1. That's my favorite. Anyway, back to the jobs. Austin is exploding for jobs. And it's why everyone is moving down here. We're literally seeing over 100 people move to Austin every single day. The fourth reason to raise a family in Austin is there's so much to do. There's so much stuff for kids to do here. There's so much that I have like a few more videos coming out just specifically on what kinds of stuff there is for kids to do, from like educational stuff, outdoors, indoors, everything like that. So just know that there is so much stuff for kids to do in Austin, in all different sectors. So there's stuff for kids to do for coding. There's like coding camps for kids. There's music camps for kids where they get to like form a band over the summer and learn how to play an instrument and learn how to work with each other and do like team building activities and leadership. And then they go and perform at the end of the summer. Like, of course, there's a kids rock and roll band summer camp in Austin, and then the regular stuff like kids in parks, kids go to see the ballet, kids are in plays, like kids go to museums. There's so much just fun stuff for kids to do that it's not even like, oh, Austin's such a big party town. There's nowhere to bring my kids. I have to like keep them in the neighborhood park. Like, there's just so much to do, especially downtown. That's another thing though, like neighborhood parks. You don't have to go downtown for your kids to have stuff to do. There are literally like parks and trails and pools and playgrounds in every neighborhood. Like there's stuff for kids to do everywhere. So if you are a big outdoors family, you are gonna have a time in Austin. If you are an indoors family and you just cannot be around the sun and the bugs and the rain and the heat, I totally get it. There's tons of museums and aquariums and workshops and libraries and bookstores. And it's like, man, it's like a kid's playground out here. And a lot of it is free. Like there's a lot of free stuff for kids to do. So anyway, I've got a ton of videos coming out about all the cool stuff that there is for kids to do in Austin. Stay tuned, you're gonna love it. #5 reason to raise kids in Austin is affordability. Now, I know this is a loaded topic and I've talked about how affordable it is to live in Austin. You can see that video right here. And we've talked about how hard it is to buy a home in Austin right now, and you can see that video right here. But overall, the cost of living in Austin is consistent with the national average when you take out housing. And that's one thing that I work with a lot of people who are moving out here from California, Seattle, New York, and they are all telling me like, yes, housing is the #1 reason that they're moving. Because it is just so crazy in California. But the other reason is like the cost of milk, the cost of beer, the cost of a gallon of gas, a dozen eggs, like all those things are cheaper here and they are consistent with the national average. Meaning that like what people are paying for it in like Lexington, Kentucky is what we're paying for it here. So yes, housing is more expensive than a lot of other places in the country right now. Like Austin is one of the biggest, if not the biggest booming cities in America. Like everyone is moving here. We have a supply and demand issue. So we have a very low supply and a very high demand, and it's driving prices up and increasing competition. I talk about that in almost all my videos, so check those out. But other than that, other than the housing issue, the cost of living here is average. It's low, it's not crazy. You can live here and not just be stuck in the house and not just be limited to free things to do, like go to the grocery store, go out to dinner, go do fun stuff with the kids. Like it's very affordable to have a good time and enjoy your life in Austin. Okay, that was our top 5 reasons to raise a family in Austin. Now we're on our bonus reason, and I kind of hinted to it before, but I want to dig into it a little bit deeper. So number 6 reason to raise a family in Austin is all families are welcome in Austin. There is no standard definition for a family here. Every family that is around, that exists, they are welcome and there's a place for them in Austin. So Austin ranks 38th nationally as far as most diverse cities in the country. We talked about how the Austin ISD is one of the, in the top 20 of diverse school districts in the country, which was a little bit surprising because, you know, to be fair, Austin is fairly homogenous. So especially when we're comparing it to like Dallas, Houston, those areas, it is growing as far as its diversity, but it is very inclusive. So no matter who you are, where you're from, what you believe, what you do, like Austin is a very inclusive city. So overall, the makeup of Austin is about 49% white. It is about 35% Hispanic, 7% African American, 7% Asian American, give or take a few percentage points. So that's definitely much more diverse than the city was even 10 years ago. So when I say all are welcome in Austin, that's part of it. The other part is like, there's so many religions here and there's so many people from different, not even like races, but like different cultural backgrounds and beliefs and things like that, that it's like it's common to find someone who is not like you, which is one of the things that I love about Austin. Austin was recently given a perfect 100 score from the Human Rights Commission for its LGBTQ inclusivity. So it's just that there's a real effort in Austin to welcome everyone. Austin's kind of unofficial slogan is all are welcome. And that's the cool thing that I love about it. And that's the best reason that there is to raise kids here is like, your kids are going to meet so many different other kids and expand their mind and learn about different cultures and different backgrounds and races and things like that, that it's not just going to be like this echo chamber. So if that is what you're looking for, is an echo chamber, is like zero diversity or difference of thought or opinion, Austin is not going to be the best place. But if you want to expose your kids to all different like ideas and philosophies and histories and backgrounds and things like that, Austin is going to be one of the best places to raise kids.